Hey everyone, welcome back to LT Gaming. My name is Tom, and today we're diving into the world of classic games with a review of Nox, an action role-playing gem released back in 2000. Nox was developed and published by the now legendary Westwood Studios and Electronic Arts, making its mark on the Microsoft Windows platforms of the time. Before we embark on this nostalgic journey, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Westwood Studios. They're a name etched in gaming history, renowned for their contributions to the industry across a multitude of genres. Founded back in 1985, Westwood played a pivotal role in shaping the gaming landscape. They brought us not just games, but experiences that still linger in our memories, such as the Command & Conquer series, Eye of the Beholder, and many more. So from groundbreaking real-time strategy titles to captivating adventures, Westwood's influence is felt far and wide in the industry still today. We won't go into their demise, we'll keep this video positive today, but needless to say, EA are the villains in this story, of course. So let's dive into the captivating realm of Nox. The narrative in this game centers around Jack, who, in a rather comedic cutscene, is yanked from Earth into a high fantasy parallel universe. He's thrust into a daunting quest to defeat the nefarious sorceress Hecuba and her legion of necromancers, all in the pursuit of finding his way home. The game had a limited choice in terms of class, but you would choose from the beginning either a warrior, conjurer, or wizard. This would determine your set of skills, but also shape the storyline and cutscenes that you would see. So it was 3 distinct yet linear storylines, each leading to a unique and compelling ending. And the branching narrative added replay value for the players. As I remember, I wanted to try all 3, so I played all 3 quite exhaustively at the time. This game had an isometric perspective and an action role-playing hybrid gameplay that drew a lot of comparisons to Diablo, particularly Diablo 2, despite actually coming out 5 months before that game. Nox carved its niche with a more action-orientated experience for the player though. The character movement is very swift, the combat is frenetic, and it delivers an adrenaline-pumping gameplay experience. And there is no real codes in this one. You're not chaotic neutral, you're not good. You just lay utter waste to the maps and unleash havoc as you go, smashing objects, slaying creatures, stealing from NPCs. It's all good in this game. And the result is the constant action as your character races through levels encountering monsters or other NPCs. However, Nox truly shines with its innovative approach to line of sight and interactive environments. The true sight line of sight system dynamically blacks out areas behind obstacles, which really enhances the immersive experience. So as you're running through a level, certain areas are obscured, and as you move through, maybe a creature will be hidden in the corner, and so on and so forth. And this was great, particularly in the multiplayer side of things. You also had interactive environments, movable objects like bones and barrels that really added depth to the gameplay. And the objects weren't just for show, they often play a role in solving a puzzle or can be hurled across the room in the chaos of battle, as well as things like putting out a fire with a barrel full of water. It just was a lot of fun. And the level design here in Nox also deserves a special mention. Piggybacking on that point, the attention to detail is evident as dwellings are logically decorated, there are subterranean layers that exude the appropriate atmosphere for their inhabitants. Now let's turn our attention to the visual and auditory elements that brought Nox to life, the graphics and sound. Nox featured 2-dimensional isometric graphics that for its time were highly detailed and reminiscent of other classics like Ultima Online and Diablo. The art style not only captured the essence of this fantasy realm, but also contributed greatly to the game's vibe and overall feel. Even today, those who played Nox in its prime will likely recall the fun-looking and iconic sounding spells. And while the graphics are not cutting edge by today's standards, obviously, they have aged very well and they maintain a charm that will resonate with fans of the classic RPG era. The magic system in Nox needs a particular mention. It's a visual spectacle, with spells leaving a lasting impression, particularly on me. If anyone recalls the Oblivion spell, we also had the blink, the lightning effects. It was just very fun. And it contributed immensely to the enjoyment and memorability of this game's experience. On the auditory side of things, Nox didn't disappoint either. From distinctive sound effects accompanying the spellcasting to the epic musical score, the game envelops players in a world of immersive audio. Each spell, swing of the sword, or creature encounter is complemented by the soundscapes that enhance the overall gaming experience. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the multiplayer aspects of Nox. This was a dimension of the game that truly elevated the experience. You had PvP modes and PvE modes that, for me, catapulted Nox into probably one of the best RPG multiplayer experiences I've ever had. Personally, I found myself hooked on the Nox Quest mode, which was a gripping challenge that pitted players against hordes of foes, testing their skills and teamwork for treasures and loot. Then there was the PvP modes, which were very dynamic in nature and really added another layer to the multiplayer allure. You had classic modes like Capture the Flag to very innovative ones like Flag Ball, King of the Realm and Elimination, and it really had a lot of versatility and depth to the multiplayer offering. Now let's talk about the lasting impact of Nox on the gaming community. It's unfortunate that the game is often forgotten. Given that it had no sequel and the franchise has faded away, I guess it was inevitable. However, for those who experienced it, Nox left an indelible mark. The game's memorable moments, both in single player and the multiplayer domains, linger in the minds of players who embraced its unique charm. Despite the absence of the sequel, Nox continues to be a memorable experience. Its influence can still be felt today, and the game is now available on platforms like GOG, and it allows new and returning players to come back and pick up Nox. And there is still a small but active community online, breathing life into the multiplayer aspect. In conclusion, Nox stands as a delightful action RPG that deserves to be remembered. Its rich single-player narrative and engaging multiplayer modes created an experience that has really left an impression on me as a gamer, and I believe many others as well. People can now revisit this classic and immerse themselves in the nostalgia of the game that, despite being overlooked at the time and fell to the shadow of Diablo 2, it remains a gem in the history of ARPGs. So if you haven't already, consider picking up Nox and joining the community for a journey back into the magic of classic gaming. I've been Tom for LT Gaming. Thank you for listening, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye now.